2015 is already shaping up to be quite different from last year, especially in the security services business. I'm now joined by Cian Burke. He's from HSBC and the head of security services. So, hi Ian. So, I haven't seen you since Cybos 2013, so it's been a while. So, can you just paint a picture of the macro environment that we're now in compared to the last time I saw you?
Well, I think the macro environment, certainly the start of this year, is very, very different. I think there's a lot more positivity about the growth potential in the world's global markets. There are still issues. You know, we still sit in Europe with the trouble of Greece and what that might imply. But a stronger US economy, growth in the US is important. Reduced oil prices is helping to drive global economic growth. And I think as a consequence, that's good. It's good for our clients, and therefore as a security services provider, it's good for us. Market indices are up, whether it's the S&P, the Dow Jones, the FTSE, all of those kind of assets, values are increasing. So as I said, that's good for our clients, and it's very good for us as a security services.
So things sound quite positive then. And also when we were at Cybos before, we were talking about the industry issues, and some of the things we were talking about were quite conceptual at the time. We were talking about collaboration and things like that. So what has changed? Has that now become more of a reality? And what about issues like collateral management? What's on your mind?
So I think some of those issues, yes, are very, very much a reality. I think when we spoke previously, we talked about the whole kind of concept of outsourcing. And I think as a security services provider, we've started to see, and it was very conceptual, particularly for the broker-dealer community, and we've started to see them now react. They are starting to outsource a lot of the post-trade activities that really are not core to their operating model. They have no real competitive advantage in that regard. We talked a little bit, and I think the keynote speech at Cybos 13 was really about how as an industry we were collaborating around some of the issues, again, where as individual participants we have no real competitive advantage, and one of those was around KYC. So we talked about the KYC utility, which is now very much a reality. So a number of organisations, a number of banks, HSBC included, have come together now to sort of build and develop a KYC utility, enabling us as security services providers, as industry participants, to do what we need to do around knowing our clients, but also actually helping our clients participate, if you like, in that process. They're publishing that information once now, not multiple times. I think the other thing that we talked a little bit about, and we will always do, is the regulatory landscape. And I think, you know, since then you've seen EMIR land, you've got Dodd-Frank now, the AIFMD that we spent years talking about and hypothesizing what that might be is now very much a part of the reality. The collateral landscape, I think, still is evolving. Mandatory clearing, clearly live in the US, now in Europe. And I think increasingly those collateral requirements will become a more prevalent issue, I think, for our customers, and therefore, you know, for us in terms of how we help them manage their collateral exposure, and whether that's helping them deliver collateral, but I think increasingly more focus on how we help them optimize collateral. You know.
Okay, so you've obviously got a massive business to manage at HSBC. It's a well-known, large global bank. So how do you focus what you're trying to achieve? If you've got your sort of to-do list for this year, how do you focus?
So I think, look, sitting within HSBC, we're clearly playing our part in helping the organisation to become stronger. So delivering a consistent and best practice set of financial crime compliance standards around the world. That's part and parcel of what we are having to do. But for us as a security services provider, you know, my focus is clearly on growth, how we continue to grow the top line revenue of our business, but targeted growth. So we spent a little bit of time over the last couple of years really rationalising and trying to understand the key sectors of the market that were important to us, where we could add value, where we could deliver a service proposition that's going to add value to our clients. Because I think historically, security services providers have tended to be sort of providers of all things to all men in some respects. So yes, growth is very, very important, but targeted growth. So we've exited a number of our clients. We now have a much greater focus on, as I said, the sectors that are important to us. You know, we are a large, complex organisation. We're 8,000 people in 40-something countries. And so, you know, our operational complexity is something that we continue to look at. How do we drive constant process efficiency through our operating model to enable us to develop and deliver a more viable service proposition for our clients, but actually to enable us to do that more cost effectively. So top line and bottom line growth is absolutely key for us.
So when I talk to a lot of transaction bankers, they always say, oh, client centricity, we do everything for the client, that's most important. So it seems that everybody has the same objective in mind. They want to deliver the services to their clients in the best way possible. But everybody has structured themselves slightly differently
Yes.
in a way to achieve that. And the bank has reported on this. So just wondering, can you explain to us how HSBC has done it and your sort of reasoning behind it?
Of course. So if you go back, a little history lesson, but if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, we as a security services provider sat within what we call global transaction banking, and we've changed that. So we now sit, there are 4 operating divisions within HSBC, and we sit very clearly within the global banking and markets division. So that enables us to partner up with our colleagues in global markets to be part of a global capital financing transaction. We have a global banking team. So these are the guys that cover, they look after all of the key clients that we service, and therefore I think what we've constructed is an ability to bring together the disparate parts of what would be an end-to-end security services proposition through execution, through financing, through some of the post-trade activity that we look at, with a sort of a focus then on how we cover and look after and service the clients that are key for us. And we've seen a number of ways in which we've done that. I mean, historically, and I was involved in setting up our prone broking business, which really is a joint venture between us as a custodian and us, HSBC, as an execution financing provider. And increasingly how we bring those pieces together, I think, are going to be important to our success in the future.
Okay, great, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.